Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome back to Season 3 of the eTeam BRIT GT Challenge. 4 weeks ago, we were in the famed Leicestershire countryside at Donington Park, but now we've travelled virtually over to the recreation of the circuit Spa-Francorchamps, deep in the Ardennes forests of Belgium. My name's Alex Goldschmidt, and alongside me once again, David Christie. David, it's been a few months, but we're back in the saddle in our usual customary positions in commentary, but we are in for one exciting, enthralling, captivating penultimate round of Season 3, aren't we?
We really are, and it's fantastic to have you back here at the helm of the ship here for eTeam BRIT, Alex. You really couldn't have joined us back at a better point in the championship. So much to talk about, but I mean, the first thing on our minds, Spa tonight really sets things up well for the championship penultimate round, and so much to catch up on, especially from last time out.
Yes, indeed. 7.004 kilometres. This circuit has been around since the 1920s. It hosts one of the GT stalwarts, the Total Energies 24 Hours of Spa, that has seen multiple manufacturers, including the likes of Audi, Porsche, BMW, be victorious around this iconic circuit. But realistically, David, the championships are on a precipice. But we have had one twist of the tail, which we'll get into when we talk about qualifying. But Robbie Stapleford leading by 19 points coming into this round ahead of Charlie Crossland. I've made a bit of a calculation that if Robbie Stapleford takes 7th position, which gives him 9 points, that will effectively give him 26 points advantage going into the final round at Imola, and thereby he takes the title. Dean Riley, Sean Campbell, Rich Smith, Kieran Vidago and Regan Mitchell, Martin Buchan, Stuart Ross French and Bobby Trundley. So there is a possibility that second could be up for grabs at the final round in 4 weeks' time on the 7th of February. Then we look at the teams championship. It's even closer between the top three. Simsport Solutions leading Team Fordzilla Blue by a mere 9 points, and then Simsport Racing round out the top three, a further 7 adrift. Zansho Simsport 2 are also in the hunt for 4th position in the standings, and looking at the battle for 5th position, Zansho Simsport, Divario Corsa, Red Shell Racing, eTeam Vasaro, Team BRIT Nissan looking to be in the hunt for maybe 4th or maybe 5th at a push, depending on how the next 2 rounds go. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we've got to take a look back at what happened round 6, Donington Park, a month ago.
Let's get underway then. Charlie Crossland leads him across the line. We are green flag racing here. It's Charlie Crossland with the inside line into Redgate, into turn 1. As you see Robbie Stapleford trying to get the cut back already. Get to move.
It's going to be tricky though, but you know what? If he has it on the brakes, Charlie Crossland tries to get out. The cutback is going to be on the cards here. Yes, it is for Robbie Stapleford. Who can get the better drive? It is going to be Stapleford, but he's got to cut off. Do you know what? He's done it. And he's going to try and go around the outside, going into the last. Oh, they touch.
Moving about as we see Mark Neutling's get it all wrong into Melbourne hairpin. You saw that one coming a mile off.
%70 brake pressure if you're turning into Coppice, for example. Yeah, the car says, whoa, big moment there.
I'm just having a look here. Dean Riley went off the track there. He was in 3rd position, 1st and 2nd place there. Let's have a look here at what happened to Dean Riley. Onto the brakes, into the Fogarty S's, a little bit of the curb on the inside, tries to save it and pulls it in, and oh dear. straight to the scene of the accident. Look at Sean Campbell as well in the Lamborghini, and there goes Bobby Trundley, spins it out at the final corner at Goddard's. Oh no, that's Aaron Martin Pilkington off after the railway bend there.
Let's have a look at what Regan Mitchell does. Sorry, this is Martin Pilkington. Oh no, is that Bobby Trundley? At the moment, have a look at that on the left hand side of your screen. It's 2 seconds. This is what happened here. So going down, going through Starkey's Bridge up into McLean's, is it just a little bit too much on the curbs? Yeah, look at that. Car just goes. Yeah, just drove the car too far. I mean, arguably though, I mean, fair play to keep the car in check. That could have easily been a spin. There was a lot of control on the brakes. Oh, Will Denny's had a spin. Will Denny has had a spin. Got to take it nice and easy on the rejoin. And there we go. Yep, all good. I know Will Dendy, and I know Will Dendy will not be happy with that by any stretch of the imagination. Just comes across. Whoa! Is that Charlie Crossland?
I have never in my life seen that move, and there we go, Charlie Crossland with the biggest send that I have ever seen in my life, in a name that we will not repeat here on the stream for the rest of the evening in case we need to start putting trigger warnings up. But Charlie Crossland up into second place. He goes very, very deep into Goddard. That's going to allow Kieran Vidago, and this is where the temper is going to stray in. What is Charlie Crossland doing? He's just, I don't understand why that car is behaving the way it is right now, Dan.
You know, they're whoa, big move there for Charlie Crossland. But yeah, Kieran Vidago, though, Charlie Crossland with that 5-second penalty. Now,
no, that's
I wonder if that is for the track.
Oh, it is. So that's from race control. That's not part of the game, because obviously the track cuts are adjudicated by the game. But he's been given a 5-second penalty for a deliberate track cut. That is huge. Half minutes left to go. Let's have a look then. This is so Charlie Crossland on the entry to McLean's here, and again that back end just slips out. He tries to keep on to it, ends up going into the gravel, and that was a car off into the background as well there.
Well, an interesting round 6 at Donington Park in the Leicestershire countryside, but here in the Ardennes, David Christie, we have a very dry, very fast and very hot track in the fact of we've got 28 degrees Celsius. Qualifying currently underway for the penultimate round of the championship for season 3, 22 minutes and 20 seconds to go. But I think one of the biggest moments I can take away from what happened last time out at Donington Park, David, was it was raining cats and dogs the whole time. Charlie Crossland had the biggest track cut I've ever seen, and then got pinged by the stewards with the 5-second time penalty that dropped his dropped the disadvantage that he had a little bit more to 19 points coming into this final round. But the biggest news is, earlier on, we found out that Charlie Crossland is not here tonight, so we've got an opportunity of one title being decided before the final round of the season. It's funny how things change, because obviously Charlie Crossland being with a part of Team Fordzilla, they've got other commitments as well, and there are times when the drivers have to be pulled from respective championships to go on other opportunities. So by my reckoning, David, Robbie Stapleford has to finish no lower than 7th place tonight, and he's got the title in the bag.
Yeah, and that's obviously very, very big news indeed. But the other thing on top of that, Alex, is the fact that that second place isn't secure for Charlie Crossland, so that could very well be likely up for grabs as well. It really throws a lot into the mix, because a lot of the drivers that we spoke about in the previous show earlier on, say from between 3rd and 7th place, they would have thought, oh well, we're just fighting for 3rd. But now, with the fact that they could now very well be fighting for 2nd in the championship, that is a huge, huge deal.
Indeed, we're seeing some new liveries for from my eyes, I know that the Campbell Fire crew, with Ben Brown and the 22, looking very nice and deep gold metallic there with a little bit of a red accent, but then also following on from Team BRIT's announcement that they're going to be running in British GT for next season in GT4 with the McLaren 570S GT4. All cars from both eTeam BRIT, so that's eTeam BRIT McLaren, eTeam BRIT Aston Martin, and also the Team BRIT Nissans have got a significantly bigger contingent of purple and bright blue on those cars. There's Bobby Trundley in there as well. I think we need to give... we've got the Jekyll and Hyde Godzilla livery going on, not just for Bobby Trundley, but for his teammate Luke Pound, haven't we, David?
It is. It's a bit of a strange one, isn't it? Because it's a normal one, and then it's a bit of a sleeper car on the left-hand side there for the GTR. It's beautiful on one side and a bit plain Jane on the other.
Yes, indeed. Currently qualifying at the moment, championship leader Robbie Stapleford. Look at the lap time from the 81 from Zansho Simsport 2. A 2 minutes 17.645. Closest behind is Regan Mitchell in the 69. And Regan currently sitting 7th in the standings. Behind him, Kieran Vidago, who finished 2nd when the dust had settled at Donington Park. Kieran sits 6th in the championship. Rich Smith 5th in the championship, currently 4th in qualifying at the moment. Dean Riley, who is leading the charge of the light brigade for those drivers that are behind Charlie Crossland. There's Paolo Tempera, who in the Discord chat was wondering whether there was going to be any wet racing. There's a yellow flag out. That is at La Source. That was for Rich Smith in the 76, the Simsport Solutions Rouge Aston Martin Vantage V8. Oh, and Daniel Hyde has nailed the wall on the right-hand side of that Lamborghini Huracan, and that's going through. I think that's going through Malmedy there, having exited Le Gomme. That's one place, David. You don't want to lose the back end of a car in any place.
That's going to be an expensive repair bill for him in that Lamborghini, but nonetheless, he'll get going back to the garage and get out of it again. And the thing is during qualifying, it's quite liberating, because obviously, Alex, you can just throw caution to the wind and absolutely go for it and really have no worries about what actually happens to the car. Saying that, what we do have to remember as well is that a lot of these drivers out here, it's a far cry from maybe a couple of years ago when everyone was on maybe, say, entry level hardware, and you'd have maybe a couple of direct drive wheels. The majority of drivers now will have direct drive wheels, and when you crash these things, they hurt quite a lot if you're not careful.
Yeah, depending on how high you have the force feedback on the direct drive as well. But looking at the lap times at the moment, Robbie Stapleford, Regan Mitchell's put in a few. Well, he's currently got 8 kilos of ballast. Obviously, the ballast system changed when we had the version 1.8 update on Assetto Corsa Competizione. So Robbie Stapleford will be running with 30 kilos. Kieran Vidago, 24. Charlie Crossland would have 20, but if he comes back the next round, he'll still have to have that. Martin Buchan, who's been doing a great job this season, currently 8th in the standings, will start with 17 kilos. He was 4th last time out. Sean Campbell, who was originally just a one-off appearance at the opening round at Kyalami, where he secured a podium, will start with 14 kilos. Dean Riley, dramas for the 222 at Donington Park, starts with 11 kilos. Regan Mitchell, 8 kilos. Will Denty not here this week as well, so neither of the Zansho Simsport cars, because I think Nick Foster has, well, we have got one. We've got Tony Mellor, haven't we, in the number 20 Bentley. So Ben Brown will have 2 kilos, and Stuart Ross French, who rounded out the top 10 last time, will have a single kilo of ballast. But ballast can sometimes be a help. It can also be a hindrance, can't it, David?
It can to a certain extent. The thing that I've never understood about ballast is the fact that for everyone, for 99.999% of drivers, ballast is a hindrance. And somehow Robbie Stapleford takes that ballast and goes meh, and just somehow manages to make it work, and somehow turns it into what can only be described as jet fuel for the car, because whenever we've seen him with ballast, he's either doesn't appear to have any ballast on, or it goes even faster than without it. So I've got no idea. All I know, Alex, is that 100 years ago Robbie Stapleford would have been burned at the stake as a witch for what he's able to do with that car. It's fantastic to see, but yeah, look, ballast makes a big change, but again, it's working out what this 1.8 update has done for the cars, and seeing the different changes, because since that 1.8 update comes out, there's lots of little hot fixes that change little things here and there as well. It'll be interesting to see how that changes the mix as well.
Yeah, Sandro Ballesteros, the youngster based out of Rochdale up north, moving into cars. Has moved into cars in real life at the tail end of the 2021 season with the Junior Saloon Car Championship. Looks to be running in that championship this season as well, but he's currently sitting 15th at the moment in the number 19 Aston Martin V8 Vantage, as he's heading through, looks like the area through to campus and then through into the double right here at Stavelot before the full throttle push. Where they'll be going at around about 250 to 260 kilometres an hour through Blanchimont before they go hard on the anchors before the bus stop chicane. And it's looking rather close. I mean, Kieran Vidago and Dean Riley have set exactly the same lap time. Kieran Vidago currently 4th on the benefit of the doubt, but he set a lap time first at 2 minutes 18.637. He's just put in a 2 minute 18.937. Martin Buchan rounding out the top 6. Bobby Trundley doing wonders in that Nissan once again. And we've always waxed lyrical about Bobby Trundley, you and I, at the best of times, David. But I think to bring a car that really doesn't get a lot of love on the Assetto Corsa Competizione platform, it's really good to see that Bobby's, as always, very spirited driver, very good bloke to know as well. He just literally, you put him in a car, he will go for it no matter what he's driving. It could be a jalopy for all he cares.
It usually is a jalopy by the time that Bobby Trundle's finished with it, goodness me. But you're absolutely spot on with that observation, Alex, that Bobby he literally gives it everything on any car that he gets. He is an out-and-out racer, both in real life and on the sim as well, and It's fantastic to watch because he's such a character. He always brings so much energy, not just to the actual race, but to whenever he's in voice chat, whenever you're talking to him. He's such a positive person to be around until he crashes, and then maybe not so much of a positive person. But he's a great addition to the championship, and for me, he is one of the cornerstones of what this competition's all about.
Yeah, well, he's actually just gone up from 7th to 6th place as a result of his best effort so far. 2 minute 19.072. That puts him ahead of Martin Buchan by just over 2.2 tenths of a second. I think Luke Pounds just made up a couple of places up to 16th. There's Ben Brown in the McLaren looking rather handy around here is the 720S GT3, the number 22, currently sitting P9 at the moment. Good to see. Well, we've got 2 Bentleys in the top 10. Firstly, courtesy of our resident Dutchman, flying one that is, with the Eat My Dust doing a Tom Coronel on the back bumper as Mark Neutling's in the 555 Bentley, and then also Tony Mellor in the number 20 Bentley for Zansho Simsport 2, currently running P10. So the Bentley's looking rather handy around here, aren't they, David?
Yeah, they really are. It's a good mix again with that new balance of performance put in by Kunos through that 1.8 update. You've now got the, as you said, the GTRs of Bobby Trundley, Martin Buchan. That Lexus has had a massive buff in terms of the performance of that car. McLaren's doing well. The Bentley's a little bit worse off. The Ferraris seem to have come to life, but I mean, we're talking about performance, and we were talking about ballast there, Alex. We need to go back to that man at the top of the table, Robbie Stapleford, nearly 8 tenths of a second ahead of everyone with full ballast on that car. It's frightening the pace that young lad has got.
And that's why he's such a hot commodity. You know, you get these younger drivers coming through, and they are spending. They're spending a lot of time on these simulators. The way that esports has rocketed into everyone's peripheral vision since the pandemic came into full force back in March of last year, and we're nearly 2 years on from that point as Mark Neutlings decides to abort that lap. Bobby Trundley's now gone into the pits. The yellow flags has been brought out briefly at Stavelot. Dean Riley rounding out the top 5. Now his last lap time, well, it was an out lap, 3 minute 45 is Mike Tyler. Okay, well, Max Spooner has just put in a lap time, and he's just gone 17th quickest. So the only driver that's yet to set a lap time who's just completed an out lap. Dean Riley getting up into second. There is Max Spooner. He's heading his way down to Bruxelles before the corner known as No Name, or alternatively at the circuit known as Speaker's Corner, because that's where the circuit commentator can be heard. Regan Mitchell flying that Ferrari its way through Blanchimont and now heading into the bus stop chicane. He's got teammate Kieran Vidago just up ahead in the sister car, the number 4 Ferrari, Simsport Racing, with 9.5 minutes to go. So Dean Riley has started firing warning shots across the bow. Regan Mitchell goes P2 on a 2 minute 18.335, a cracking lap there from the Ferrari.
Brilliant lap there from Regan Mitchell, and I'm delighted to see him starting to come to the where I thought he was going to be early on in the season towards this latter half. He really does have a lot of potential, does Regan Mitchell, in that 69 Ferrari. He's just been so unfortunate to bring that through, but the other thing I was away to say was that obviously before the season started, I had some brief insight into Regan Mitchell, watching him in some of the other championships. He was just absolutely, I mean, he was on par, I think, with the pace that Robbie Stapleford had, but it just seems like he's just not had any luck this season at all, Alex, and a lot of potential there, and I'm sure he'll be destined for big things.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's been any teams that have actually caught their eyes on him and picked him up, because if he has, then that's going to mean that his 2022 season is going to be even better than what's been happening for the last 2 years. James Hall in the number 67 McLaren 720S GT3 from eTeam BRIT McLaren, currently 19th at the moment with 8 minutes on the clock remaining. But Robbie Stapleford Let's just see. I think he is back. He is back out on track. He's just gone through Pouon at the moment, so he's just about to hit turn number 13. So yeah, I think James Hall hits the curves a bit too hard. They're going through the entry into Stavelot, but nicely corrected, using as much as the runoff as you can without exceeding track limits and thereby causing a problem with regards to that lap time. But yeah, I mean, Regan Mitchell's just showing there already, as you said, how if we'd have seen a bit more of this at the beginning of season 3, we would have seen a very different championship permutation right about now. But the main thing is that Regan is going to do his absolute damnedest to get further up the order before the end of this season.
Yeah, 100%, and that's a long time to go. I mean, obviously, we think that it's almost done, but yeah, you know, it's still a good amount of points left to go for the remainder of the season. And again, with what you were saying about Regan Mitchell being potentially snapped up by or looked at by other teams as well, this is a perfect sort of moment for these drivers to peacock, to promote themselves, to puff up their feathers and get that attention. You know, there's a lot of attention now going on to the eTeam BRIT Championship, and these drivers tend to go into the same sorts of championships. So yeah, this is with all of the championships, the teams, the attention that's coming in, Alex, there's a lot of money coming in with that as well, and a lot of teams now getting formed. You know, this is a great time to get yourself involved.
Yeah, very, very true indeed. There's Paulo Tempera, our sole Portuguese driver, making his way through into the bus stop chicane. He's sitting P12 at the moment. 2.7 seconds off of the pace from Robbie Stapleford, and the pace that he has set is absolutely mind-blowing. 5 minutes and 50 still to go. Paulo Tempera now goes ahead of Stuart Ross French into 11th position on a 2-minute 20.125. Just keeping an eye on some of the other drivers. No one's making some significant inroads, but Robbie Stapleford, it was one of the slowest outlaps I think I've seen. It was a 16 minute and 13 second outlap. That normally doesn't happen, so there's probably a little bit of a glitch there, I would imagine, because he was in the pits for quite a considerable amount of time. But as always, Robbie Stapleford just pushing on the limits of adhesion. He's not just represented Zansho Simsport, but also Rocket Simsport as well, run by Jensen Button and Chris Buncombe, having made some debuts on platforms such as the SimGrid as well. So the good thing is that Robbie Stapleford, having joined, now he actually replaced, if memory serves me correctly, I think it was Nick Foster at round 2, and instantly made an impact. And I think everyone got the warning shot across the bow and went, right, we better keep our eyes on this young whippersnapper. And what he's done, he's won 3 on the bounce, and he's got himself an opportunity of securing this championship. Now, I know he's also raced with Simsport Racing before they became Simsport Racing International. He's won their GT3 championship. So, and plus the fact that Rocket Simsport have invested in this young talent, and I can see a lot of great things. There has been a yellow flag out briefly as Regan Mitchell now back down to 3rd position, courtesy of Dean Riley, but now has gone within 3.5 tenths. The battle for pole position, I don't think it's going to be all Robbie Stapleford's way, is it really, David?
Well, it's starting to get a little bit close now. Regan Mitchell fired a couple of warning shots there. I mean, 0.3 of a second, that's not too bad. The track obviously starting to come to life here. Maybe we'll be able to see some closer times. Now, a minute ago, Alex, I was talking about peacocking and getting attention from teams and things like that, and lo and behold, a little bit of intriguingness, shall we say. I'm not even sure if that's a word, but if it is, I'm making it up. YouTube chat here on Team BRIT Racing. I'm pretty sure it was our very good friend Cammy Sturch is on trying to attract the attention of presumably former Team Fordzilla racer David Simon. Okay, so that's yeah. There you go. There's a little bit of read between the lines on that one. So I'm very curious to see what has happened. There's obviously some big personnel changes at Team Fordzilla there, and I've got to give big shout out actually to Cammy Sturch, because build up the brand with that Go for the Gap and set up their own Discord server. I think there's like a couple hundred people on there already now, and set up races and everything like that. It's always fantastic to see little communities growing up from little acorns. So yeah, good fan of that. I'm on the servers. Wasn't able to join the Among Us game that they had set up the other night. So Alex, we'll have to get you into that sometime and learn about what is sus.
What
Among Us, the game. You never played that? Oh, mate, don't worry.
No,
we'll make you relevant and cool with the kids one day.
Oh, no, not at my age, you won't. And that's just being courteous right there. However, we're getting into the last 120 seconds of this qualifying session. Robbie Stapleford is still out on track, but Regan Mitchell is the one that's hunting the 81 Zansho Simsport 2 McLaren down for pole position for the penultimate round of the season here at Spa-Francorchamps. Kieran Vidago flings the car right and then left into the bus stop chicane in the number 4 Simsport Racing. And he's about half a second up, so he could be in the top 3. He's about to cross the line. P3 he goes. 2 minutes 18.157, so half a second separates the top 3. Max Spooner has been incrementally moving his way up the order. He's now up into 16th position, and he's several tenths up. He's going to come across the line, goes 15th in the 63 Lexus, goes ahead of James Hall in the 67. Tony Mellor in the Zansho Simsport Bentley. I still remember when we when I've seen the likes of a couple of countrymen of yours, Ross McGregor and John Munro, piloting this very big old boat, which normally we affectionately call the Boatley when it's teeming down with rain. That's definitely what it would have been the case for Tony Mellor last time out, David.
Yeah, it certainly was. Talking of John Munro, actually, I came across a photo from the archives here, so we've got 45 seconds left to go, from the Autosport show this day about 3 years ago, back in 2019, where I was on one of the many sim racing leaderboards that were there, just underneath your very own John Munro. So yeah, that is my only claim to fame now. I've got that photo forever. That's when he makes it into the big time, I can always use that one. But they were a very fast outing, him and Ross McGregor, and that Bentley looking to emulate some of that pace right now, and Tony Mellor looking very good. But here comes Robbie Stapleford. No way, there's no way he's doing this, right? He pops out for just one lap. No danger. Get a grip. Get an absolute grip of yourself, man. 2:17.1. Alex, come on. How is that even possible? The thing is, right, for a fact, how many laps has he done? He's done 7 laps. For a fact he came out on there and just thought, I'll stick another fast lap in.
You want to know why? Because the track was fast at the beginning of quali. It's now optimum, and he waited. Bobby Trunley crosses the line. He's the last car that will set a lap. Regan Mitchell goes. He took a tenth out of it, so 7.5 tenths separating Mitchell and Stapleford. Bobby Trunley now making his way down the Campbell Straight. Harder brakes down into Lecombe. And the Nissan trying to drift out, going through the first part of it. Oh my goodness me! That just goes to show how hard Bobby Trunley will push at times. But Max Spooner about to cross the line, so Sandro Ballesteros and Bobby Trunley still out on track. Max Spooner goes 14th, pipping Hamish Eisner, who was showing up in the top 12 at one point. But Bobby Trunley now making his way down towards the double left here at Pouhon, and he's spotted the lap. So that is it. And for the penultimate round of the season, Robbie Stapleford, by a commanding 0.753 seconds, pips Regan Mitchell to pole position. Regan Mitchell at one point, David, was less than 3.5 tenths behind. Good to see that we've got multiple different manufacturers. So we have McLaren, Ferrari, Aston Martin, Nissan, Lexus, and Bentley in the top 10. That's a nice varied amount of machinery, wouldn't you say?
It really is, and again, it just shows how balanced this New Balance of performance is. So two things, Alex. One, I'll BRB while I go and engrave the trophy for Robbie Stapleford. And two, I think it's safe to say then that Martin Buchan has been sacked from the team, because getting beat by Bobby Trundley, his teammate, that is going to take some amount of ribbing on the voice chat, I can imagine, from Bobby tonight. That is going to be awesome stuff to work that one out. But Mark Buchan,
you know what, sorry to cut across you there, I think Max Spooner might be getting a virtual slap around the face, as if to say, why has half my livery disappeared from Bobby Trundley and from Luke Pound?
Do you think maybe it was trying to save some weight, get a little bit extra speed in the car?
Yeah, right. Well, qualifying completed. Robbie Stapleford one step away from taking the title here in Season 3 of the eTeam BRIT GT Challenge. And it'll be a new name that takes the championship title, because Matt Richards, for the last 2 seasons when we were running on the R-Factor 2 platform, won both overall titles. And it's looking very interesting as to who is going to win the team's titles, but I think for very much the case that we will have a new opportunity for another team, maybe to end up at the top of the honour roll for this season. There are some plans that Season 4 will be afoot, but as and when we can let you know, you'll find out via our social media channels. Don't forget, if you want to get involved with the chat, there is on the respective streams, but there you have our dedicated grid. So Robbie Stapleford, one step away from taking the Season 3 crown. He'll have Regan Mitchell alongside in the number 69 Ferrari. Then it's Dean Riley in the 222 Aston Martin and Kieran Vidago in the number 4 Ferrari. That's row 2. Rich Smith in the 76 Aston Martin and Bobby Trundley in the
well, I think we've went and lost Alex, so I'll just capably jump in. Bobby Trundley then in 6th position in the GTR. Then it's Martin Buchan and Tony Mella in row 4 at 7th and 8th place. Martin Neutlings and Stuart Ross French in 9th and 10th position. Then Ben Brown and Tim Pera in the Audi in 11th and 12th position. 13th and 14th is going to be Bradley Brockies in the McLaren with Max Spooner in the Lexus. 15th and 16th on row 8. Hamish Eisner in the Lamborghini, and she is going to be alongside James Hall in the number 67 McLaren. It's Sandro Ballesteros and then Michael Tyler on row 9 in the 19 and the 445. The Aston Martins beside each other. It's the Honda 32 of James Haskell on row 10, leading alongside Dan Hyde in the Lamborghini, and at the back of the grid, but making progress nonetheless. Charlie Parr in the 88 Prancing Horse, the Ferrari at the back there in 21st position. An hour is going to be on the clock for this penultimate round of the eTeam BRIT GT Championship. And I wonder if our good friend Alex has put 50 pence back in the meter and decided to join us again. He's gone. There is Alex Goldschmidt has left the building, ladies and gentlemen. It's just you and me for just now. We'll work frantically to get Alex back. In fact, he's just appeared again. Welcome back, Alex. Well, he's back in name, but not actually in spirit there. So while he figures that out, we can set our minds ahead to what is going to happen here at Spa, because with 60 minutes and a mandatory pit stop still to come in front of us, strategy is going to be a huge factor to play in tonight. We've obviously got to think about the fact that not only do we have the Teams Championship, but we still have many championship places still to be decided, and will very likely go down to that final round in just a month's time here, with the fact that Robbie Stapleford stands poised to take the crown of the championship tonight with that 104 points, and with Charlie Crossland missing in action tonight, it is going to be very, very interesting, because that's a lot of pressure to put onto Robbie Stapleford just now. But he's done everything that he needs to do. He's done everything right so far and done it in impeccable fashion. Regan Mitchell there, second on the grid. Now he's going to be looking to try and get some good points tonight, because at the moment he is down in 7th place in the championship, but it's Dean Riley who stands to make the most gains tonight, because he's currently in 3rd. If he takes that 2nd place from Regan, or potentially that 3rd, he could have enough points to get himself up into that 2nd position, certainly by the end of the season, potentially by the end of tonight. So
Apologies
just wait.
for that.
Oh, there we go. Welcome back, Alex.
I don't know what happened. Something technical difficulties from my side. Bluetooth decided to throw a doozy, and then for some reason it decided to throw to another set of headphones, even though I had my ones jacked in straight away. So there you go. It even happens just after the new year. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this one, mate. I mean, plus also we've got the standard GT3 start. We haven't got the run going from bus stop into La Source. It's from La Source going down into Eau Rouge and Radion, and that for me, David, is going to be an interesting sight, because it's about who's going to have the cojones to go either up the inside or round the outside Eau Rouge going into Radion, because it is quite nip and tuck when you do try and chance it, don't you?
Well, that's just it. And with Regan Mitchell alongside, I think Regan's going to fancy have a little go at this one, with Dean Riley as well alongside. So, yeah, don't discount either of them. The conditions looking very, very favourable, very, very dry right now. That could change towards the end or the latter stages of the race. But, yeah, this has got a lot of what-ifs written all over it right now.
It has indeed. So it's Stapleford from Mitchell, Riley, Vidago, Smith, Trundley, Buchan, Mellor, Neutlings, Stuart Ross French. And I think in some respects here, David, the drivers are really happy about the fact that what we have is clear weather conditions, isn't it?
Absolutely, and that makes such a difference here at Spa. It's a treacherous, difficult circuit at the best of times, never mind with changeable or wet conditions. In these dry conditions, in these warm dry conditions as well, Alex, it really does mean that these cars can really push it, these drivers can really push these machines to the best of their ability and find the absolute limits. And Robbie Stapleford, I think, is a young man who's able to find limits far faster than some of the other drivers here. I think that the pace will be on it, but again, what we've seen is that Robbie Stapleford can be his own worst enemy. We saw that in previous seasons with some of our previous champions, Alex. When you're out there on your own, you can be your own worst enemy sometimes.
Matt Richards, case in point. Luke Pound has just nothing against Matt at all on that front, but Luke Pound's just mentioned in the GT Challenge Discord chat that the game has crashed and it's come up with a fatal error. A real shame for Luke. We're looking forward to seeing how he's going to get on in this penultimate round of the championship. So we'll have 21 cars hitting the starts here. So 60 minutes on the clock, mandatory pit stop. The window opens when 20 minutes have elapsed, and then when it's 20 minutes to go, that pit stop will close. Pit stop window will close. It's an automatic. It's a 30-second pit stop window that they have to negotiate. And now this is where things are getting a bit more serious, because not only have we got Robbie Stapleford effectively one stone's throw away from getting the title, but then you've got to then look at what's happening behind, because this, with no Charlie Crossland, this means it's a Simsport Solutions, Simsport Racing Battle Royale for the team's title. And the team's title, I can guarantee you this much, ladies and gentlemen, will, I think, go to the final round on February the 7th at Autodromo Enzo e Dino Ferrari at Imola, when we have our 8th and final round. The cars now making their way through Blanchimont. As always, great to pick up on the cameras by our team at Simsport Solutions, who are providing the broadcast for Season 3 of the Championship. But the wait is almost over, ladies and gentlemen. David Christie, your thoughts ahead of 60 minutes of green flag racing here at Spa-Francorchamps?
Oh, that energy drink has kicked in. Let's get this going, Alex.
Yes, indeed. So it's going to be a little bit of a longer wait. So it is down to Robbie Stapleford and Regan Mitchell to control the pace. The green light will not be shown here, but it will be shown when they get down halfway down the hill after negotiating La Source. So Spa-Francorchamps, round 7, eTeam BRIT GT Challenge Season 3, 7.004 kilometres to negotiate over the next 60 minutes. And now they make their way through La Source. It's got to be a dual file, rolling start formation. So, ladies and gentlemen, are we ready? Hopefully, grab a hold of something, because it's going to be a rough ride, a roller coaster ride here at Spa-Francorchamps. Stapleford and Mitchell on the front row, and we wait, and it goes green and into Eau Rouge for the first time of asking. Robbie Stapleford edges ahead of Regan Mitchell as they go up the hill for the first time. Dean Riley keeping ahead of Kieran Vidago. Everyone, oh, it's a bit side by side between the likes of Tony Mellor, who's got a great start. He's jumped past Mark Neutlings and has been challenging Martin Buchan. And it's nearly 3 abreast as Vidago on the outside of Riley, who was nearly on the outside of Regan Mitchell, going through into Lecombe, and Vidago has to relinquish that charge. But there is Rich Smith just behind, as nice move through the through Malmedy, courtesy of Tony Mellor up the inside of Martin Buchan, and that is Stuart Ross French, who's now in 9th ahead of Mark Neutlings, who's got Ben Brown going around the outside of him at Bruxelles. That's craziness. Now Bradley Brockey's up into P12, so already the tempo seems to be pushed quite hard right now at the moment, David, as it looks like, I think Sandro Ballesteros might have a drive-through for a start line infringement.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like there just now, and it is still very, very frantic. All the drivers just trying to get themselves into a little bit of calm, a little bit of focus, and trying to get themselves down contact with Dan Hyde, and that looked like the Honda, I think it was, of James Haskell. It is, so the Haskell pink machine gets thrown off into the corner there, didn't hit the barrier, thankfully. We'll be able to rejoin and get going again, but that is almost certainly going to attract the attention of them there upstairs. We'll be having a look at that from every other angle. I don't think there was anything in that at all. I think it was just a little jerk of the car as it was trying to turn left, and a snap of oversteer and understeer at the same time. But Robbie Stapleford, just looking at that, 1 second of a gap already ahead of Regan Mitchell and Dean Riley and Kieran Vidago, with looks like Rich Smith in the background there in the number 76 as well.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that that's one very difficult point where that incident happened, David. That was going through Pouhon. That was actually going through the second half of it. And you're pushing 4th gear, 170 plus. We're going to have a look at a replay here now. And this is where they're now going to go through. So you've got the Lamborghini of Dan Hyde going over the curbs ever so slightly into the first part of Pouhon. Haskell keeps it around the outside. A little bit of dust kicked up, a little bit of touching between the pair. And Charlie Purr gets through. So Charlie Purr in the 88 Ferrari now through into Pouhon. Purr drifts wide. Haskell gets around the outside, and all of a sudden, yeah, it was just a little bit of a turn in. And well held by James Haskell to keep that thing out of the barriers. I think, in all honesty, that could be more than likely a racing incident, as Dean Riley now has got Kieran Vidago around to his outside, and Kieran Vidago's made the move going into Lecombe. He's going to hit the curbs, and Dean Riley keeps ahead, but here comes Rich Smith in the 5th place, number 76. This is going through Malmedy. It's a Ferrari meet in the middle of an Aston Martin sandwich. And Kieran Vidago nearly had Dean Riley's number going through Lecombe, but he had to pull out of the move once he hit the curbs, and Rich Smith was nearly like a rat up a drain pipe.
Yeah, certainly was. Dean Riley then, and again having to try and get that move done. This is a replay then of Tony Mellor on the back end of Bobby Trundley up front, and this is going through Pouhon again. Just have a look at, in fact, sorry, that is actually live. So Tony Miller trying to catch up to the back of this train here. Bobby Trundley, though, he is having a sensational start to this race, because Martin Buchan going backwards, now down into 8th place and significantly off the back of Tony Miller. But watching that battle there as well with Regan Mitchell, Kieran Vidago and Dean Riley, the fact that they're fighting it out as well is going to mean that Robbie Stapleford can clear off into the sunset. Not one of them really has the ability to go and chase him down. Look at that gap already.
1.8 seconds and we're on lap 2, so nearly 14 kilometres in the bag. Robbie Stapleford, the gap is absolutely inhumane, because Regan Mitchell's like saying, what on earth have I got to do to try and better Robbie Stapleford? Well, if you could do an undercut in the pit lane, you might be able to, that might be your only opportunity, your only shot to get that done. But looking at it from this perspective, Regan Mitchell, if he gets 20 points, he's going to really put himself up there, because that will put him on 71 points. Dean Riley, if he takes third, that's 16 points, puts him on 76. Kieran Vidago, that will put him on 65 points. So we would have a reshuffle of from probably third to 5th place, because Martin Buchan now, Stuart Ross French, that was a bit of, I think he just nearly straight-lined Radion there, and that could have been one of the track cuts. And Radion is well known for drivers pushing the envelope when it comes to track limits, and that's one place that you don't really want to have a track limit excursion, especially if you've had 3 already and you have number 4 and it pings you for a drive-through, because I've just seen that Sandro Ballesteros is down in last position, having served his drive-through penalty, but there's every possibility. But Tony Miller, in the meantime, has caught up with Bobby Trundley, and he's brought along Martin Buchan. Stuart Ross French is not too far behind. Got a ding-dong battle on our hands here for P6 here, David.
We absolutely do, and how enthralling is this to watch, because there's nothing between them just now, between let's have a look there, between Bobby Trundley, between Tony Miller, between Martin Buchan, Stuart Ross French, even at the back there. And if they're not careful, that's going to bring up Mark Neutlings and Ben Brown into this mix as well. And that was very, very late on the brakes there from Stuart Ross French. I think that might have been just a deceiving camera angle, because he did end up going late on the brakes, but it wasn't as bad as what it looked like from that angle there. But yeah, look, it's still very, very early. A lot of these drivers just feeling everything out right now, just wanting to make sure that they can make it through this first half an hour.
Right, looking through the sector times at the moment, Robbie Stapleford is fastest through sectors 2 and 3. Tony Miller looking rather racy behind Bobby Trundley as they head their way through Blanchimont. Kieran Vidago fastest in the first sector, about a tenth quicker, as Tony Miller late on the brakes going through into the bus stop chicane. Is he going to try for the switchback here through the left-hander? Oh, he's got up the inside. That's a cheeky little move from the Bentley, but nevertheless, great planning from Bobby Trundley. Did a great job just to keep the Nissan planted to the outside, get himself the inside run into La Source. And now this is going to open the door for Martin Buchan. Tight line taken by the Lexus. Oh, a little bit of a touch between the left front of the Lexus and the right rear of the Bentley. No harm, no foul right there, but that could have opened the door for Stuart Ross French. But epic defending there from Bobby Trundley.
Mega stuff, and you'll love to see it. We've seen it all through the championship, these wonderful little battles going on, and what you'll find is that these drivers tend to gravitate towards each other throughout the championship. They'll find their little arch nemesis and they'll stay with them for the entirety of the championship. It makes it brilliant for us as Stuart Ross French has a little look up the inside, and Bobby Trundley coming still under huge pressure from Tony Miller right now as they come into Les Combes. But Alex, 52 minutes left to go, and while it may look very easy day at the races for Robbie Stapleford, we're definitely not on a drought of action here.
No, not at all, David, not at all, because I've just noticed that the top 5 drivers covered by 5.8 seconds. Tony Miller trying to put the frighteners on Bobby Trundley, but Trundley's soaking that pressure up like the proverbial sponge. Martin Buchan's got a good run on the Bentley. Now this is heading into Pouhon. He'll wait until he gets through Stavelot, because then the tow is quite useful around here, not just down the Campbell straight, David, but also through Blanchimont when they're pushing 6th gear, 260 kph, maybe even higher than that. And Martin Buchan, he's just got to wind things up a little bit. He's just got to wait and bide his time. But if he makes a mistake, Stuart Ross French, Mark Neutings, Ben Brown, I've even seen Bradley Brockies is trying to close on in. Brockies is about 9/10 of a second slower than Ben Brown in equal machinery, I might add. But you can see now, is Trundley trying to pull them along to catch up with the top 5? Well, if he is, that's going to be a brave strategic call for the Nissan driver. However, Martin Buchan still hell-bent on getting back past Tony Mellor.
Yeah, and he has to. I mean, the fact is that Bobby Trundley's now 4 seconds. It's up the inside, goes Ben Brown into that final chicane. That wasn't going to work, but it shows the intent on Mark Neutings. And again, that McLaren looking very, very rapid indeed. Bradley Brocky's looking to have a little catch up to this battle as well, but it's going to be on the round the outsides at Source here. Try to get the cut back on the inside. Love the livery on the 555 Bentley of Mark Neutings here, but again, just these little sporadic battles, these dogfights that are going on all throughout the field, especially from pretty much Regan Mitchell all the way backwards. I can't see Bobby Trundley getting onto the back of the group until they start fighting. I think it's going to be a battle straight up now for 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th here.
Yeah, Tony Mellor looking towards the left-hand side of Bobby Trundley's Nissan going through into Lecombe, just trying to angle the Bentley in the right way possible, just to make sure that if Bobby Trundley makes a slight mistake. Now, we saw the Nissan going a bit Tokyo drift, pardon the pun there, during qualification, but Bobby Trundley's kept it nice and neat and tidy. He's made the rear haunches of that GTR as wide as humanly possible, very much in the same ilk as Mark Neutings down in 10th position, having battling away with the Ben Brown, but Martin Buchan looks to be losing a little bit of ground to Tony Mellor, who's within 2/10 of the number 23 Nissan in the battle for 6th place. We're now 10.5 minutes in, 49.5 still to go, and we've got 9.5 minutes until the pit stop window opens for the penultimate time in Season 3. Little bit of a slight unforced error from Bobby Trundley, went a little bit wide coming through the second half of Pouhon, but now manages to keep it on the straight and narrow. But you can just see by the body language of the Nissan that Bobby Trundley is just trying to just make it through the first 20 minutes and keep Tony Mellor at bay. And he's doing a stellar job at the moment, is Bobby Trundley. But you have to give Tony Mellor credit where credit is due for keeping the pressure on, as now they're heading towards Blanchimont. I've just seen 6th gear, and he's pushing about 255 as Tony Mellor going through Blanchimont. Martin Buchan again has caught up to him. Tony Mellor was looking. He's got a little bit of a love tap from behind, and that has sent Bobby Trundley off the track. And it was a little bit of a, going through into Blanchimont, into the bus stop chicane. Incidents like that can happen. The slightest touch can unsettle the back end of a car. And I think Tony Mellor did the right thing there. He realised he'd outbraked himself ever so slightly and decided, well, I'm going to let Bobby have the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened there. He let it go again, and obviously left himself open to getting taken over by Martin Buchan. It's as you want, as Tony Mellor decides just Radion doesn't exist. It's just straight over the top. So where is Bobby Trundley has. Yeah, that's been a disaster for Bobby Trundley at the top of Radion and all the way down into what looks like 12th position there for the 23 GTR driver. That is, we'll get a replay of that. I was a little bit distracted. I was looking at the YouTube chat at Condensed Sky asking, are BMWs banned or something? Obviously making reference to the fact that there's no BMWs. No, well, this is the penultimate round of the championship. Now, this has been going on for what, Alex? 7 months now?
Yes,
when we started the championship, well, you've got to remember that back then the BMW wasn't a competitive car, so the new BMW hadn't been announced yet, and there was a very different balance of performance. We love the BMW, but it just wasn't competitive in its current form. Roll up to like a month or 2 months ago, and now obviously the BMW is massively competitive. You've got the new version that's out as well now that's hugely up there in terms of power, and that's why it just wasn't up there. No teams picked it. What happened to Bobby Trundley here, Alex? Oh my God!
That was a 720. I think Tony Hawk would have been very... You know what? Save of the season. Forget Goddard's last time out at Donington Park. Bobby Trundley, 720 in a Nissan, whilst avoiding everybody else going through Ardennes. I think Mamma Mia is probably the least of what I'd want to say right about now, but we're going to have a look at the onboard from Tony Mellor. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is what a Code Brown moment looks like on a Assetto Corsa Competizione when you're actually following a car. So Trundley's the back end steps out, and Tony Mellor, he had to avoid that from happening. He had to avoid any potential contact, and in the meantime, just had a notification from race control that the incident between car 20, which is Tony Mellor, and and Bobby Trundley in the 23, when they had the slight bumper-to-bumper clash through into the bus stop chicane earlier on, it's been noted. So no further action will be taken. We're just over 5.5 minutes away from the pit stop window, so Bobby Trundley now having to regain composure after that moment, but still to have kept a hold of it and not hit the wall, not hit any other car. Everyone had the presence of mind to get past the number 23, and then we see Stuart Ross French now in the 28 Red Shell Racing car, not assisted by teammate Tim Lane at this particular moment. Tim is a very, very busy man considering who he works for. So Stuart Ross French works for Jaguar Land Rover, and Tim Lane, if memory serves me correctly, works for Mercedes. But not just any Mercedes outfit. I think it's the Formula One team, and they're gearing up for their 2022 season. But Stuart Ross French still doing a good job. He's actually keeping Martin Buchan a bit on the honest side here, but Martin Buchan's about a second ahead of the Aston Martin. But look at the gap that Robbie Stapleford's just pulled out. 6.1 seconds, and we're on lap number 7.
So I'm just thinking for Robbie Stapleford, Alex, what filling cake do you think that he'd like for his celebration this evening? I'm thinking we'd just go for a vanilla sponge, yeah, some icing, yeah, a couple of hundreds and thousands on it, you know, just look, it's almost a done deal.
Have you got the oven on already?
Yeah, exactly. It's like we've engraved the trophy. We might as well get the streamers and get the balloons. It's always an awkward one because it just shows how incredible he has been this season. The pace that he's had has been absolutely relentless. Let's have a look here at the McLaren going down through towards Eau Rouge and Radion. This is Bradley Brocky's then 2 places ahead of Bobby Trundley. Is this going to be a carbon copy? It's that curb on the right hand side. No. Oh, that is going to be a trip to the chiropractor, I'm afraid, Alex.
That is going to be a trip to the pit lane as well, because as soon as the front end hit, because he had Paolo Tempero chasing him down through Eau Rouge and into Radion, the right front wheel was towing in. So that has got suspension damage. Look, you can see the left front wheel is actually pointing to the left hand side. So that has got steering damage, and he's having to use the escape road. I think he's pulled it in the pits. He's in the pits now. He's done I think he's done an RTG, return to garage there for Bradley Brockies with just under 43 minutes to go, as we've got less than 3 minutes to go until the pit stop window opens for the penultimate time. A real shame for Bradley Brockies. I mean, just one slight slip and we saw Bobby trying to get away with it, but Bradley Brockies was on the receiving end of a hard front end impact.
Yeah, that was a scary moment for Bradley Brockies there. There's nothing you can do at that point. There's absolutely nothing you can do, Alex. You're a passenger at that point in the proceedings, and it's just a case of trying to undo any damage that is done there. It's what can I say? But we go on racing, and look, that gap for Robbie Stapleford now up to 7.3 seconds here.
I have actually lost my chain of thought of what to say about Robbie Stapleford, apart from the fact he's an alien. And that's true, you know, something...
I would have to, no, there's no joking about it, Alex. He absolutely is. I mean, And do you know what's awesome is it's really exciting when you see talent like this, because we work over a lot of different championships for a lot of different organisations and a lot of different platforms, and some platforms it's very, very close, and other platforms it's there's a wide range of skill level, but very rarely do you get somebody like this where they just stand out and they go across loads of different championships, and you just know, you have that gut feeling. Alex, you'll have seen this in karting. You'll have seen many real life youngsters where they're like, yeah, this is somebody to watch out for. Right now, Robbie Stapleford, yeah, he is absolutely to be one for your radar.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's there's one person who's a bit alien-esque in karting who's also been doing some sim racing during the pandemic. Dan Ginchard has now just been signed by Ardennes Motorsport for British F4 next year. Last season, he won 3 championships in 2 respective classes. No one could touch him, and I've known that kid since he was in Honda Cadets, probably about the best part of 6 years ago. And yeah, the same can be said with Robbie Stapleford, but we're getting a real good battle here. This is for second on the road. Dean Riley closing in on Regan Mitchell, and the gap between them was showing at about 8 tenths on the last intermediate. But it is going to be a little bit closer than that. I think that gap has been well over halved, as they're going to go through campus and now they're going through into campus. And then when they go through the first part of Stavelot, they're then going to hit the timing beam for the second intermediate. And Dean Riley is right pretty much on the back bumper. Pit stop window is now officially open for the next 20 minutes, but Dean Riley had halved that gap to 0.33 of a second. Battle for second position is very much on here, David Christie.
Oh, absolutely, and this is what we want to see. And the thing is that I think that Kieran Vidago has got the pace to bring himself back into this group, and it could very well come in very soon. The thing you've got to remember as well is that we've got pit stops, so strategy is going to be a huge thing. We've seen time and time again where we've seen seconds of a gap neutralised because of different pit stop decisions, or better, more awareness in pit stops. It's definitely not all over yet, and I think that it's like an accordion. This is the bit where it's breathing out, it starts to stretch out, and then it'll come squeezing back in very soon.
Yeah, very much like when we have to take a long pause and a long deep breath whenever we've been talking for a specific amount of time, especially when that's with heightened adrenaline because someone's pulling off a move that we never saw coming. But none of the drivers have yet to pit. For those, if this is your first time watching anything on the ACC platform, don't forget there is a mandatory pit stop. The drivers have 18 minutes and 40 seconds to get into the pit lane and then serve that pit stop. So once the orange box with the 1 goes green, that means they serve their mandatory pit stop and they can get back at full speed. But Dean Riley very much keeping Regan Mitchell honest, but the gap has the pendulum has swung a little bit. It's a bit that, like you say, David, that accordion effect that we've seen the gap down to about 0.332 of a second. Now it's up to 0.978. They're going to head through towards Pouhon. That gap is going to come down again because Dean Riley looks to be a bit more measured and a bit more composed on the braking zones.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I think that's going to be exactly it. And again, slightly distracted by YouTube chat, Alex, because Charlie Crossland, despite missing tonight, is actually joining us in the YouTube chat. He's saying that he's effectively agreeing that Robbie bagged the championship at Snetterton, so he's just going to go for a no ballast Imola. Now, does that mean he's going to be going for a no ballast Imola? Because if I'm right in saying will he not still take the ballast with him?
Oh, that is actually a very...
Because even though he's missed the round, he'll still take the ballast that he's on the round that he missed.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, like, thinking, right, I've got this all planned out, guys, we're just going to go out with a big huzzah, and you're like, well, actually, no.
I think no, because Nick Foster missed a round, and he had to come back with 48 kilos of ballast. So Charlie Crossland will have to come back, and it will be with 20 kilos.
Ah, right, okay. Well, anyway, now that we've ruined that hope for him, I do hope we do get him back out, because he's been... what I love about Charlie is the fact that he gives it 110% every single round, or he'll die trying. You know, he absolutely sends it to the nth degree. And, you know, for the fact that we're going on waxing lyrical about how amazing Robbie Stapleford has been this season, he has been the only man to absolutely hold him to account and to really, really hold his feet over the fire, Alex. And if we're not going to see him tonight, I just pray we're going to see him in the final round.
I'm sure we will, and I'm sure that he'll put up one hell of a fight right up until the bitter end. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. James Haskell is the first driver out of the 21 to have pitted. So, yeah, it's going to be. I wonder if people have actually fueled long on this particular round, because obviously your fuel consumption is going to be a bit different on a circuit like Spa-Francorchamps in comparison with Donington Park, wouldn't you say?
I absolutely would. The problem with it is that it's been so long since I've personally driven any of these circuits, so I've got very little reference points in terms of strategy, in terms of fuel load and things like that to work that off again. So, Alex, I think the both of us for that are pretty much running blind tonight.
Yeah, you're very true on that one. But I would imagine, just by looking on previous like commentaries that I've done on races at Spa-Francorchamps, that sometimes if there is a pit stop involved, some people feel a little bit shorter than others. But there is always a different strategy with regards to Spa, because you never know if there is going to be rain coming. But Dean Riley now is swarming all over the back of Regan Mitchell, and I'm wondering if there's going to be one of these drivers that blinks first. Not on that particular occasion, but one of the things that I've noticed on the weather, David, is that there are clouds in the sky.
I don't know. You're saying that, Alex, but as a Scotsman, I'm seeing those clouds in the sky. I'll take them. This is a wonderful, wonderful day. The track temperature is 30 degrees Celsius. It's 24 degrees in the air. This is a summer's day for Scotland here. So we will absolutely take this. Personally, I don't think we've got anything to worry about weather-wise. It might cloud over, it might cool down a little bit later on, but you know, in sim time it's 11:36 a.m, so it's coming up to the hottest part of the day here at Spa. So yeah, I think weather-wise it's going to be clear for the rest of the day. Now that's my weather forecasting abilities completely down the pan. Whether or not that will actually pan out is another thing completely. I love this camera shot. I always get distracted by it because it's beautiful. It just shows off how wonderfully accurate this sim is. I mean, for goodness sake, you can see the scratches underneath the exhaust on the carbon fibre. It's when the light just hits it, you just see these little scratches as well. It's absolutely stunning. But going back to this battle here, Alex, with Regan Mitchell and Dean Riley. Riley wants this position, doesn't he? He really wants a piece of Regan Mitchell right now, and yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of points on the table here.
Yeah, there is a case of that. Bobby Trundley now in the pits. Bradley Brockey's now in the pits. Well, Bradley's been in the pits for quite a bit of time, but it's all about who is deciding when they're going to jump in and serve their mandatory pit stop, because they've still got 12 minutes and 50 seconds still to do it. And yeah, your guess is as good as mine, because you said we're flying blind at the moment, and yeah, we'll see what happens. But I think it could be close between Tony Mellor and Martin Buchan, because they're within 8.5 tenths of each other. Regan Mitchell and Dean Riley are right. Riley has pitted, so he's decided to go in first, and Regan Mitchell now has Kieran Vidago behind him. So Regan Mitchell has got to now it's quite a lengthy pit stop here at Spa, because not only are you going down the going through not through La Source, but then you've also got to go around the other side, so it's not the traditional pit lane entry that you're going to be doing, as Tony Mellor's now pitted. this is going to be a bit more of a case where drivers are going to find themselves saying, well, that strategy didn't quite work, did it?
No, and the problem with the strategy is that there's only so many situations you can account for, Alex. There's, you're not going to have one strategy that's going to be perfect for all situations. You're going to have a strategy, and even then, you're only going to have a couple of strategies that you can think about up until you start the race. As soon as you start the race, that's you pretty much locked into one or two strategies. You can't have that much leeway, if you're going to take a certain amount of fuel, if you're going to take a certain amount of this specific tire choice or whatever. You're locking yourself into one or a small number of choices that you can take. Even then, for me personally, I lock it in as soon as I go into the grid. I think, right, I'm going to stop at XYZ time, and I'm just going to do it this way. It's the last thing I want to be thinking about is having to do under fueling or over fueling or coming in early or coming in right down to the wire. I just want to come in, get the pit stop out of the way, and just keep going and driving.
Indeed. So nearly half of the pit stop window has been completed, and we are almost halfway through the race running order at the moment, as we're on to our 13th, well, we're on to our 14th lap now. Thank you, Robbie Stapleford, who currently leads by a clear country mile ahead of Regan Mitchell. Kieran Vidago rounds out the top three. Rich Smith, so as I say that, Regan Mitchell now pits from second on the road, promoting the likes of Kieran Vidago. Rich Smith has also opted to pit. Martin Buchan, Stuart Ross French, Ben Brown, Mark Neustings, Paolo Tempera and Max Spooner round out the top 10. Here is Regan Mitchell heading down the pit lane as we speak. Hamish Easner, James Hall, Michael Tyler and Daniel Hyde ran at the top 14. Dean Riley at the moment is showing us the highest placed driver that has made a pit stop, but that will soon change courtesy of Messrs Mitchell and Smith, as we have 9.5 minutes to go of the pit stop window, just under 29.5 minutes of this penultimate race of the season. The track temperature though, David, has increased. It was 28 degrees in qualifying. It's now 31 degrees here in the race, and the track is still optimum.
Well, it looks like we've just got enough time to start the barbecue for Robbie Stapleford's victory party later on this afternoon, because beautiful conditions for it is as well, isn't it? I mean, how old is Robbie again? He's what, about 15 or
16 years of age, yeah. 15.
Is he
he's
old?
not.
Is he too old, do you think, Alex, for a bouncy castle? Serious, asking for a drink. We'll get some ice cream and jelly.
What? You know what? We're going to have to get Max Spooner to send him a cheesecake.
that is how us pro sim racers chill and party, celebrate a championship.
Cheesecake and gelato.
Yeah, we'll get it engraved with some fancy inscription from eTeam BRIT. That's the prize for the season. Right, so let's thinking about this. So, I mean, we were saying about 10 minutes ago, right, about that, like an accordion effect, about how drivers will come into the pits and they'll do their pit stops and they'll be out and then they'll come out and it'll be all squeezed up. I think Regan Mitchell has done an absolute banger here, because he's out of pits and he is away down the Campbell straight, and Dean Riley is playing catch up quite massively. And look at that, Stuart Ross French.
No, that's Rich Smith.
Oh, that's Rich Smith that's onto the back there. So that's a blinder of a stop from Rich Smith then. Well,
the strategy has been played out. I did think there might be some strategy calls to be played, and it looks like Regan Mitchell has done a number on quite a few people, including this man here. Dean Riley got ahead of him. And Dean Riley is now 3.8 seconds behind Regan Mitchell and is 1.2 seconds ahead of teammate at Simsport Solutions. Now, the thing is that one of the other things I'm going to have to keep an eye on is how this is going to change the permutations for the teams championship, because this will drop Team Fordzilla Blue out of the top 3 places, top 2. So it just depends on where Vidago, if Vidago and Mitchell, they're currently what is it? I was just trying to remember now. I had all the bits and pieces open. They're 16 points behind. So if they have 17 points advantage after this, they'll lead by a single point. That's how crazy it could be going into Imola.
Still way too close for comfort, though. I definitely wouldn't want to be going into the round with just 1 point separating thing. Yes, it's exciting, but neither team is going to feel particularly comfortable at that point. Carl Stapleford, Robbie's dad, has given us an update on the cheesecake situation. Apparently, they want a cherry cheesecake, and Robbie's going to be 16 in May. That's nuts. Also, Alex, tonight I learned cherry cheesecake is actually a thing. That sounds absolutely amazing.
My favourite cheesecake is strawberry. But there we go. That's my that's my personal.
I'm an absolute cheesecake nut. I prefer the bog standard cheapo vanilla cheesecake. I am a simple boy with simple needs. Oh,
hang on a second.
Yellow flag.
Yeah, yellow flag out. That was for the 32.
That was James Haskell.
And also, I'm wondering, has Hamish Easton might be having a drive-through penalty very shortly in the number 30 Cadan Casual Apex car, as Kieran Vidago was just coming through shot there, and that is Rich Smith. So Kieran Vidago, right? Okay, so we've still got 6 cars yet to pit. Sandro Ballesteros down in 15th. Mike Tyler from eTeam BRIT Aston Martin in the 445. He's currently 6th. James Hall in the 67 eTeam BRIT McLaren, 4th. Mark Neuslings, 3rd. Here comes Stuart Ross French and Ben Brown. So these two are going to be battling away for position. We've still got 5 minutes of this pit stop window to go as these two now make their way through. That promotes Mark Neuslings into the provisional lead as Mark Neuslings now makes his way through. I think whoever's out on a lap at the moment, so Mark Neuslings, James Hall, Mike Tyler and Sandro Ballesteros, I think they will probably be in on the next lap, because the lap around here is about 2 minutes. If you're really pushing it like, say, Mark Neuslings has been for the last couple of laps, in the low 2 minute 20s, you will literally... we've seen it before, haven't we? Max Spooner has... I think, what was it, the first round when he was with Team Texaco with Freddie Hunt, and Max decided the opening round was at Donington Park on season 1, and 3 seconds to go on the clock, he managed to make the pit stop window. But with a lap as long as it is here at Spa, you cannot chance that, even if I'm going to put in a really big, a really good hot lap, and you make a mistake and it puts you in the wall.
Yeah, and that's it. And we've got another yellow flag. That's the 32 again. So James Haskell brings out the yellow flags yet again, and that is Blanchimont that he's brought that one out. So I can only presume that he's possibly hit the barrier here. This is a replay though, and that is the earlier instance. So that's the first yellow flag at the top of Radio, and. Yeah, I mean, that's actually a relatively minor incident. I think we'll all do that at some point in our sim career.
Yeah, very, very true there, David. But we've got 3 minutes and 14 seconds to go. And yeah, Mike Tyler's now pitted. Sandro Ballesteros has pitted. James Haskell again has pitted, so I'd imagine that the second incident might have made a bit of an indent on that Honda, which is probably why he's pitted again. So that leaves Mark Neuslings and James Hall. So we're going to have a look at the this is the second incident, and this is going into Pouon. Right, into the left-hander, he turns the car in, car drifts wide, and not too sure whether the car might not have been 100% compliant, especially if the tyres were flat spotted after that moment earlier on in the lap, David. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, he's got the hazards on, so he's signifying that there's a problem with that car, and then there'll be another one where he's obviously gone wide at Blanchimont. For a minute there, I had the heart in my mouth there as I saw Robbie Stapleford was in 3rd place, and then I remembered Martin Neuslings and James Hall have to still pit there. And Martin Neuslings will be hoping that they just red flag the race at this point and stop the count, because he'll be happy to take the race win. But of course, they haven't stopped yet, so Robbie Stapleford will take the lead back of this race, and like that gap up to 12.2 seconds now. I mean, that is just scandalous in a 60-minute race. The pace is crazy, but we have to say, I mean, Rich Smith to take that 4th place from Kieran Vidago, that is a turn up for the books, and that's all been done in pit lane.
Yeah, that is indeed. And just looking at things at the minute, so Kieran Vidago, yeah, that really does change quite a big dynamic. That actually will give him 11 points at the end of it. So the way things are at the minute is that Dean Riley will still stay 3rd in the championship on 79 points. Regan Mitchell, I'm just having a look here, so
you've got Excel open and the calculator on the go.
No, I'm writing this down. I'm actually writing this down, that Regan Mitchell would end up 3rd on 71 points, Rich Smith 4th on 69, Kieran Vidago would be next on 63 points. Then you've also got Sean Campbell not here, still on 62 points. Martin Buchan, I mean, I'll wait until things sort of Martin Buchan, so 6 points, sixth place, that'll be 10. So that'll put him on 60 points. And then Stuart Ross French is currently 9th. That's 7 points if memory serves me correctly. That will put him on 53. So we're still going to have a ding-dong battle for, well, I mean, this now puts Dean Riley in earshot of is in earshot of Charlie Crossland. So Charlie Crossland, if he can't get first, he's got to try his damnedest and do second.
And that's just exactly what I think he'll do with these final 20 minutes of the race to go. And got to see that is indeed a drive-through penalty being served right now by Hamish Eisner in that number 30 Lamborghini. So she's going to be very, very disappointed with that one. That's almost certainly going to drop her, I would imagine, behind Dan Hyde in that number 2 Lamborghini. But here is Stuart Ross French on the back of Ben Brown. Kieran Vidago also onto the back of Rich Smith still as well, so that fight is going to rage on considerably. And again, over these, this is the question, this is the $1 million question, I guess, Alex, is, you know, it's penultimate race of the championship. How hard do you push right now? I mean, this is essentially for 8th and 9th place, but do you risk it? Do you settle for 9th? I mean, I don't think settling is in the vocabulary of Stuart Ross French, but what's the risk-reward ratio?
Oh, that depends on how they actually look at it, because it's all about risk versus reward. Now here comes Kieran Vidago in the slipstream of Rich Smith, looking towards the outside with 18.5 minutes to go. This is the battle for 4th on the road, and Vidago's going to have to withdraw from that one. Oh, he got a little bit of a touch between the pair, going through into the entrance of Le Combe. Now that's a repeat of what we saw with Kieran Vidago and Dean Riley at the early goings of this race through the very same pass on the circuit. You have to give Kieran Vidago credit where credit is due for absolutely to still have that presence of mind and that determination to really go for it with 18.5 minutes to go. And I think Rich Smith was saying, "Yeah, I know what trick you're trying to pull." I mean, let's not forget they've raced against each other in different leagues. Have Rich Smith and Kieran Vidago, so they know each other well. They're very good friends off the track. But Kieran Vidago to have, I mean, it just goes to show the pace of the Ferrari. Even with Kieran Vidago is running with 24 kilos of ballast. He's wrestling that thing by the scruff of the neck. It's
brilliant to see, and wrestling by the scruff of the neck, that's one of the things that I would have used to describe Bobby Trundley in the GTR. Actually, that was a point I was away to make about half an hour ago before he had his incident there, is the fact that we usually see Bobby Trundley overdriving the car and having huge scary moments because he's pushing way too hard. But this race and the last race specifically, he's looked like a new driver. He's been so calm, cool and collected up until that incident. And watching Kieran Vidago here though, yeah, he is another cool customer right now because he knows he's got the pace in that Ferrari. It's just a case of trying to get past the Aston Martin, and that is probably going to be one of the harder things that he can possibly do on the entry into La Source, and they're so close to actually hitting each other there. But yeah, this is going to be a very, very tense affair here, Alex.
Yeah, 16.5 minutes to go. Battle for 4th and 5th between Rich Smith and Kieran Vidago. There's Bobby Trundley with the Jekyll and Hyde Nissan closing in on Stuart Ross French. Bobby Trundley last time did a 2-minute 20.140. Just shy of about 8/10 off of Stuart Ross French's pace. But whilst Stuart Ross French has been battling away with Ben Brown, there's been a gap that has expanded between the 22 McLaren in 8th place and the 28 Aston Martin in 9th. So Bobby Trundley is trying to close in. We're riding on board with the Nissan at the moment, going through Ardennes. And now down the Campbell Straight as there's Kieran Vidago. Oh, he's just had a moment. Oh, now did they come together going through Lecombe? There's Daniel Hyde, who's just up behind Charlie Purr. That's the battle for 16th position. Now I'm wondering, has there been a bit of drama because Rich Smith and Kieran Vidago last time around, as Robbie Stapleford is about to come up to back marker traffic with the two in front. That's Daniel Hyde and Charlie Purr. They're battling for position, but they've got to keep their eyes on the blue flags. It's going to be rather important, and if they don't, then then first of all that could impede Robbie Stapleford, and second of all, David, that will incur the wrath of race control.
Yeah, they don't like that one. Oh my goodness me, and out to the outside right. So let's see what happened with Kieran Vidago here. This is on the entry into Lecombe. I think that's a difficult one to see because that was onto the curbs, and yeah, I'm not going to pass any comment on that whatsoever, which is a first for me. I want praise for that, by the way. But
yeah,
it's
you haven't actually.
I know, I've actually kept my mouth shut on that one. Yeah,
I mean,
that's for the stewards to decide that one. What I would say is that Kieran Vidago did come into that corner very, very hot, and he was on the curbs on the right hand side.
Yeah,
so I think they'll be looking to see whether or not he was going to be able to keep that car slowed down in time. Either way, all it's done is cost them time. It's thankfully the positions are kept as they are, but yeah, it's a bit of an unfortunate one. But it's they're racing and they're still pushing it, and it goes back to that question that I asked you, Alex. How hard do you want to push for that position?
Yeah, because I mean, it's not going to amend anything. Well, I mean, that could have amended something in terms of the points, but not in terms of positioning, because that would have meant that the gap between Rich Smith and Kieran Vidago, that would have actually dropped by a couple of points. So it would have meant that just looking at it from this perspective, the gap between them would have only have been a couple of points. Now we're going to have a look at the replay. Now this is on board from Kieran Vidago. So what do? He's trying to do the old Nigel Mansell dummy. He's gone to the left hand side, heading in towards Lecombe. He's put it towards the inside. He's got alongside. That is a bit of a 50-50 incident. That is a bit of a difficult one to call.
It's a weird one though, Alex, because did you notice that Kieran Vidago, it was like he dived up the inside and then pulled off the brakes because he was going to shoot up the inside of Rich Smith, and then it was almost like he decided to pull on the brakes as well. So yeah, well, it is what it is, I think.
We'll await the decision on race control for that one, but it is a 50-50 whether they might class it as a racing incident, because neither one of them gained an advantage. We're going to have, that's a bit, because they both span out as a result of the contact as well, and that was the fallout. As Daniel Hyde trying to go side by side. This is, don't tell me a Lamborghini's going to go around the outside here at Blanchimont. He nearly did to Daniel Hyde, but Charlie Purr had presence of mind. He runs wide going through, does the 88. Dan Hyde looking in the slipstream, going into the bus stop chicane. This might be for 16th position, but this could end up nasty. There is a little bit of right. I had a feeling that might have happened. I'm absolutely speechless.
Oh, and who's that?
That was Regan Mitchell. That was Regan Mitchell that's just gone through. And with regards to that incident there, I think it should have been a bit of discretion is the better part of valor from Daniel Hyde, because he thought, well, I'm going to send it. He sent it, and then all of a sudden they had a little bit of a touch, Daniel should have just pulled to the right-hand side, let Charlie go, fine, it wouldn't have been an issue. But no, it was like the accelerator might have just gotten stuck or something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm sure that... Oh dear, we just had a pun from our broadcast director, and I'm not going to say it, so I'm not going to say it.
Go on.
Oh,
say
dearie
it,
me.
Say it.
Well, no, I'm gonna say that new favourite word of mine that I haven't said in a while. There's a little bit of yeeting going on through the bus stop chicane.
I can't believe you'd never heard of that word before I used it. Although, to be fair, I mean that was a new rule of my commentary vocabulary. Was dropping that one in live on a stream. That was yeah.
Well, that's where I got it from.
Yeah, true.
That's all your fault. Well, anyway, in the meantime, Dean Riley is trying to wind up the wick up to volume number 11 on that Aston Martin to chase down Regan Mitchell, but has lost a little bit of time. He was about 3 seconds behind the Ferrari, but it's now 3.5 seconds behind. Robbie Stapleford leads with just under 11 minutes to go by 15.285 seconds. With now on to 21st lap. Of racing here. I mean, you know what they say, David, if you're not talking about the leader much, you know he's doing a bloody good job.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the best way to do it, isn't it? And with 10.5 minutes left to go, I mean, look, this has been how Robbie Stapleford's season has been so far, Alex, hasn't it? Just exemplary and almost unfaltered.
Yeah, that's very, very true indeed. And we're into the last 10 minutes, and this youngster, this 15-year-old whippersnapper, is doing an absolutely cracking job behind the wheel of the McLaren 720S GT3. Charlie Purr and Daniel Hyde. I'm going to use one of my favourite analogies here. They're like two petulant children in the playground battling over the last swing. And at the moment, Charlie Purr's got one hand on the chain on one side of it, and Daniel Hyde's got one hand on the other side. And they're both arguing between themselves. It's just like, who's gonna end up the victor in this one? There's a bit of a run wide coming through. That's the most extensive use of runoff area I've ever seen on a Assetto Corsa Competizione, coming through La Source there, David.
It's fine, nobody noticed. To go to your swing analogy then, one person's going to win the swing and one person's going to run home crying to mum, because this is going to end in tears. With 10 minutes to go, you absolutely know that it's going to come to blows with these two. But look, Dan Hyde has been really, really doing his best to absolutely make hay while the sun shines, and that's what I love, is the fact that, as we've said so often, it doesn't matter whether or not you're in the top 5 or whether you're in the battle for 16th, 17th and 18th place. Everyone is fighting hard to get the position that they can.
Very, very true indeed. So at the moment, the top 3 looks as well. The running order at the minute is Robbie Stapleford leading with just over 8.5 minutes to go. Then it's Regan Mitchell, Dean Riley, Rich Smith, Kieran Vidago, Martin Buchan, Tony Mellor, Ben Brown, Stuart Ross French and Bobby Trundley round out the top 10. Mark Neutling's in 11th ahead of Paolo Tempera. Max Spooner looking to get points for the second time this season. He got some points in the opening round at Kyle Army, as that was a bit nip and tuck between those two there. And there is Rich Smith, and hot on his heels is Kieran Vidago. Oh my goodness me, the battle for 4th place on the road is not quite decided yet. Charlie Purr trying to keep out of the way. Dan Hyde is going to be hit with blue flags at the moment, and now he has to run wide coming out of Stavlo. Oh! Slightest glance between him and Kieran Vidago, and that could have gone so wrong right there.
Well, that's enough to wake you up if you decided to drift off. Goodness me! Charlie Purr finally gets out of it and moves aside, but yeah, there was wow, that was breathtaking to see how that didn't come to anything worse than it did.
Yeah, definitely clean up on aisle 3. Now, Kieran Vidago has a clear line of sight at Rich Smith, as he's now got past Charlie Purr. So Purr and it looks, oh, It's going to be a three-way scrap for 16th because I've just spotted Sandro Ballesteros behind Daniel Hyde. Well, not that far behind Daniel Hyde. He was 0.9 of a second behind, and there he is as they go through, up through Eau Rouge, through into Ardennes. Sandro Ballesteros, hopefully, well, in the next 6 minutes and 50 seconds, might have an opportunity. Look at the run he's got on Daniel Hyde down the Campbell straight. The Aston could be put up towards the inside of the Lamborghini, but on this particular occasion, I think Sandro Ballesteros has decided discretion is the better pass of Valor. Will wait for the next opportunity and could even get the move done before maybe the next big overtaking spot, which will be Blanchimont. But Dan Hyde now knows that he's got an eTeam BRIT Aston Martin right up his exhaust pipes.
Oh, and a mistake there means that it looks like it's going to be up the inside, surely, for Sandro Ballesteros. They're going to be side by side coming through halfway round the circuit here. And I've got to be honest, I mean, Dan Hyde is pushing so hard. I wonder if he's pushed too hard on those tyres, because not only do they have their own fight, but they've also got Martin Buchan trying to make his way round through this as well. So this is a brilliant little fight towards the end of the race here, Alex.
Yeah, very much the case. So with just under 5 3/4 minutes to go, it is all kicking off. Here at Spa-Francorchamps, Sandro Ballesteros now has to pull out of the way of Martin Buchan, who was right behind him in the eTeam Visaro 666 Lexus. Track temperature again has climbed another degree, up to 32 degrees Celsius. And Martin Buchan now having to negotiate his way past Daniel Hyde. And don't tell me they're going to do this on the fastest part of the circuit. Buchan around the outside. And I think Hyde just lifted off the throttle, but that's allowed Ballesteros to close up right back up to his rear bumper. As you can see, this brilliant onboard shot from the rear cowling, the engine cowling on the Lamborghini Huracan. We've got 5 minutes to go, and Sandro Ballesteros. Oh, there's been a little bit of a clash between the pair through the bus stop chicane with 5 minutes to go on the clock. Ouch.
I love the fact that Sandro Ballesteros is just like, nah, sorry, I don't care, because like 9 times out of 10 we see the driver just stopping like a guilty dog, looking like, I'm sorry, but Sandro's just like, nope, I'm having that position, thank you very much. I don't know if he'll be able to keep that position, but look, you've got to say, I mean, it was coming. I'm a little bit disappointed in Sandro that it came like that, but you know, this is racing. 4 minutes 20 left to go. I'm curious to see what happens with his battle with Kieran Vidago and Stuart Ross-French now. Look at this, Bobby Trundley absolutely wants this position. He's going to have it by the time they get into Les Combes.
There we go, and he's made the move stick. Is he going to get it late on the brakes? Oh, the brakes were definitely not working for Bobby Trundley right there, because Stuart Ross-French had the presence of mind to go, oh, that Nissan isn't handling very well. I might have a chance to get this position back, but they're going to go down into Bruxelles. And oh, there's been a touch between the pair. There's more dramas. This circuit is challenging at the best of times, and the biggest thing is, you start to get tired, you start making mistakes, and oh, that was so close between the pair of them. But luckily enough, the main thing is they're back in those positions that they were on. So thank goodness for that.
Is that Dan Hyde behind them in the Lamborghini? I love the fact that Dan's flashing his headlights as he catches on to the back of Stuart Ross-French there, the irony. But yeah, look, that's exactly what I was on about when, you know, contact happens. The polite thing to do is you kind of just wait for the opponent and think, yeah, sorry mate, that was my fault. But
right,
yeah, right, here we go. Kieran Vidago and Rich Smith.
Well, okay, before that, we've got a penalty. The first one of the evening. Sandro Ballesteros gets a 10-second time penalty for causing a collision with Dan Hyde. Well, we're going to leave that one. That's water under the bridge now, because that's past tense. But here we go with present tense, as Kieran Vidago and Rich Smith battling away. Now, this could really close up 4th and 5th in the overall standings come the end of this race, because if Kieran Vidago gets ahead of Rich Smith, it's going to be 65 points, plays 67 going into the final round at Imola on February the 7th. And there is a very significant slipstream being engaged by Kieran Vidago. He was looking towards the outside. He thought better of it, because what he's waiting for is an unforced error from Rich Smith. And the biggest reason being is that Rich Smith will have seen that Ferrari menacing in the background of his rear view mirror, and also the wing mirrors as well, David. And Kieran Vidago now just has to put the pressure on, but he might have that opportunity down that Campbell straight. If he gets a good enough run coming out of Radion on the final lap of the race, he could have Rich Smith's number. There's a warning for car number 28. That's Stuart Frost French for the contact with Bobby Trundley. And now this is a replay of the incident between Sandro Ballesteros and Dan Hyde, and it looked like there was a double tap there, I think. And that's why it prompted race control to make that decision. But we go back to this battle for 4th and 5th place, as Robbie Stapleford, I think, will be going on to, well, we're 60 seconds away from the end of the race. So I would think that this time around it's going to be the 26th and final lap of asking for this race. But Rich Smith and Kieran Vidago, they've got probably about the best part of, 9 kilometres still to go. And it's anyone's guess. Sandro Ballesteros is chasing down Charlie Purr for what is 16th on the road. Now this is going through into Corpol Frère and then into Blanchimont. So Ballesteros will end up probably outside, probably in 20th position at the flag. Charlie Purr keeping it nice and tidy, but Sandro Ballesteros, that was that's Bobby Trundley and Stuart Ross French, and Bobby Trundley is trying to thread the eye of the needle through into the bus stop chicane. He got part. What spatial awareness was that? That was epic!
Madness! Absolute
Robbie
madness.
Trundley with the move of the season. I cannot believe, like, literally, I think I lost out of things to say. Now here we go. The timer has hit 0. Robbie Stapleford is on the 26th and final lap, and Kieran Vidago has gotten ahead of Rich Smith going into Les Combes. Is he going to nail it on the brakes? He does, going through into Les Combes, and that changes everything with regards to 4th and 5th in the championship. They are going to be split by literally nothing going into the final round at Imola on February the 7th. But just probably a couple of kilometres remain. It has been an exciting time here in the eTeam BRIT GT Challenge for Season 3, because when this young 15-year-old, known also as the Stapler, Robbie Stapleford, joined the eTeam BRIT GT Challenge, he fired a warning shot across the bow, putting a P2 in his 2nd ever race in this championship. But he's got one more chicane to navigate. It's 3 after Donington last time out for round number 6. And he outbrakes himself a little bit going into the bus stop chicane. But ladies and gentlemen, provisionally your Season 3 eTeam BRIT GT Challenge champion is Zansho Simsport 2's Robbie Stapleford, capping it off with 4 victories on the bounce. And that has done enough. That puts him on 129 points. Regan Mitchell will be one of several drivers going into the hunt for 2nd position in the championship. He takes P2. Dean Riley keeps himself in the thick of it. He's now 7 points behind Charlie Crossland, P3. So he's on the podium again. He's still P3 in the standings. Kieran Vidago takes 4th place ahead of Rich Smith. Martin Buchan will cross the line in 6th position, as Tony Mellor will take 7th place in the number 20 Bentley. Ben Brown will take another top 10 finish in 8th position in the number 22, but it's Bobby Trundley that gets the better of Stuart Ross French with that epic penultimate lap move through the bus stop chicane to take 9th. Stuart Ross French in 10th. Mark Neutlings will finish in 11th. Michael Tyler will finish in 15th. Sandro Ballesteros will finish, I think, probably around 20th position. Paolo Tempera takes 12th place. Michael Tyler takes 15th, and it will be Max Spooner in 13th for eTeam Vasaro that takes his 2nd points finish of the season. having had difficult race after difficult race following his points secured in Kyalami in the opening round of the season, and James Hall from eTeam BRIT McLaren will round out the top 14 places. But Robbie Stapleford, what a drive. A new name joins the honour roll, and it's Robbie Stapleford that takes the Season 3 title here on the penultimate round at Spa-Francorchamps. David, wow.
And how, Alex, and how he did that. What a season that has been. It's still building up to a wonderful crescendo for the best of the rest, but I mean, we try not to keep on talking about one driver too much, but it's difficult in the case of Robbie because the performances the wins that he does, Alex, aren't just like, oh, that's a brilliant race for him. It's like sensational. It's like proper spellbinding stuff. One of these races in a season would be enough for us to go, wow, that is the standout race of the season. He is the standout star of the show. But for every single race that he's been in, to just walk it in the way that he does, I mean, he's not only raised the bar for the competition, but for the level of driver and the level of ability that is on show here. We saw that in previous seasons with the like of was it Matt Richards, who was just dominant, and you've got there a penalty for car 30 for causing a collision. That is
Dan Hyde. And Dan Hyde.
Yeah, that's not the best. But going back quickly to Robbie. I mean, look, an incredible young talent. So exciting to see where they go from here. I wouldn't be surprised to see top flight esports for that young lad.
Yes, indeed. Well, we're going to now have our top three. So first things first, let's bring in Simsport Solutions' Dean Riley, who secured the third place on the rostrum. Here, let's see if we can bring Dean in. So just bear with us one moment. Well, Dean Riley, firstly, congratulations on a third place finish. With the development that Charlie Crossland was not able to attend this evening, you've now got a clear shot at second in the championship come Imola in a few weeks' time. Firstly, how was the race? It was pretty epic from what myself and David saw.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not quite sure what happened in the pits. I thought the undercut was gonna, put me pretty closer than it did. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened there. So I have to look back at that one. But yeah, I thought the undercut was on, and that was my only opportunity to overtake the Ferrari. So it was so quick in a straight line. So. The first stint, Regan seemed to be struggling. I think I had a lot more pace from him, but the second stint, he held his own, and I couldn't catch him. So, yeah.
But Spa, it's never an easy track. I mean, it's got the longest pit lane, I think, in GT3 racing history. It's never an easy one to combat it, but how was the Aston handling as the track evolved? Because we saw it was fast when you guys were in qualifying and then going into the race, and then it went to optimum, and the cars really sort of came alive, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, we were suffering with understeer a lot, which we had to make a compromise with the setup, which made us a little bit slower. But yeah, all in all, since the update, I think I've really struggled to get the speed out of the car, and my setups have changed completely. And yeah, I'm not feeling too comfortable, so we'll have to assess that one for the next season and see what cars are going to suit us.
Yeah, but also heading into Imola on February the 7th, how do you think the Aston's going to measure up to the challenge?
I think, again, we're going to be roughly similar pace to Spa, where we're not the quickest car, but yeah, we should be all right. I mean, if Charlie's back, then he's going to be fast, so hopefully not. But yeah, it gives us a good opportunity to get second in the championship, and hopefully try and pit Regan in Imola. I'll try my best.
Yeah, and also one other thing, maybe about the fact of the team's title. Still very much up for grabs. It's going to be close between Simsport Solutions and Simsport Racing going into the final round. You must be looking forward to that.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking all the way through the race that the points was the most important, so just to stay on the track. We've got to give up a position, that's what we've got to do, but the team's championship's much for the taking, so yeah, I think we did a good job today, and if we can keep the same next round, we should take the overall win, I think.
No worries. Well, Dean, thank you very much for your time, mate. Have a good one, and we'll see you at the final round at Imola on February the 7th.
Cheers, thanks a lot.
David, I'll hand over to you to have a chat with our runner-up this evening, Simsport Racing's Regan Mitchell.
I certainly will. We'll see if we can drag Regan into the commentary booth in just a second and find out what he has to say. Regan, very, very good evening. A well-deserved second place, and that was a pretty epic race for you.
Oh, yeah, it was pretty good. A bit quite fun, a bit stressful, very sweaty.
Talk us through that race, because obviously Spa's a very, very difficult circuit, but you made it look fairly straightforward tonight.
Well, yeah, it's a pretty hard track, and the Ferrari's become quite a bit harder to handle since the physics update about a month ago. And yeah, it started off really well. It was doing everything I wanted for the first 5 laps or so, pretty much perfect, and then the back tyres just lost a little bit of grip, and I was Tokyo drifting through the rest of the stint, and Dean almost had me. And then once I changed the tyres, I was hoping I'd get the 5 laps of really good again, but it never came. So you say it might have looked good, but it was not that easy in the actual race.
And obviously, with Dean Riley keeping you honest throughout the second half of the race, was there a point where you thought he might actually have me here?
Yeah, once or twice, but I was a bit lucky to have a bit more straight line speed, and I could do anything I need. And I was worried when he came out in clear air for his undercut, but I was able to ward it off. And then after that I was calm.
We're actually getting some fantastic slow motion of the tail end of that Ferrari fishing out, and just as you were describing. Now, Regan, before the season started, you were one of the drivers I tipped to be in real strong contention for fighting for the title, but it's been safe to say that you've really not had the run of the luck so far this season.
Oh, I've had quite a bit of bad luck. I've made some mistakes as well. Not all the bad luck is like not my fault. Some of it is my fault, but yeah, disconnects and crashes into people that had spun themselves off. It's yeah.
But that by the side, I mean, tonight is a good haul of points. So going into Imola, you're still in with a shout of taking second place in the championship. Is that on your mind at all?
Well, it'd be really good. I wouldn't complain at all.
Excellent stuff. Well, listen, it's always a pleasure chatting to you, Regan. Best of luck for Imola and the final rounds, and looking forward to speaking to you again.
All right, thank you. Hey.
So there we go, Alex. Over to you then to have a chat with our champion-elect.
Yeah. So without further ado, let's bring in this young man, also known as the Stapler, provisionally our Season 3 GT Challenge champion. The number 81 of Zansho Simsport 2's Robbie Stapleford, 4 wins in a row to secure the title. And it's been an absolutely dominant performance from the minute we saw this young man at round 2 of the championship. He has literally come in here and set the championship alight. Let's see if we can bring Robbie Stapleford in. Well, Robbie Stapleford, you are our provisional Season 3 Drivers' Champion. Well done, firstly. We were absolutely shocked by... Well, we weren't surprised. We were just literally... I think both myself and David were blown away for words when you put it on pole by the best part of nearly 0.8 of a second, and you won by nearly 18 and a half after 26 laps here at Spa. First of all, Robbie, 4 wins on the bounce, and you're our provisional Season 3 Drivers' Champion. How are you feeling right now?
Thanks, Alex. Yeah, I'm feeling great. It's been a great season. Obviously missed the first round, and then just went for wins after that, and we're now here, and yeah, it feels great. And just want to say thanks to Zansho and everyone in there, Mike, for getting me in it.
Yeah, and I think one of the things, you and I had a conversation earlier on this season about ballast. And then obviously when version 1.8 came along, it sort of changed things a bit. I think in some respects it was a bit more of an assistance, really, that we were running at 75 kilos, but then with the new balance checks, it was dropping that from 75 to 30 kilos. How has the McLaren responded in terms of the ballast? Because you literally were away, I think, by at least 1.1 seconds after the first lap of racing, and you didn't look back. It was just like everything was calm, composed, everything was all in order. And you weren't worried at all, were you? You just knew what you had underneath you in terms of the car. It was just about not putting a foot wrong, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. And weight and fuel on this car just makes it feel loads better. I found after the update, it just makes the car feel loads nicer. It's more stable, and I think just because of that, you just get the time out of it instead of last time where it made it a bit sketchy with fuel and everything on, and a bit slower, where now it's just pretty much planted as soon as you put the fuel in, and it feels better than it does with no fuel and no weight on. So.
Yeah, so one more round to go in 4 weeks, February the 7th at Autodromo Enzo Guidino Ferrari. Can you make it 5 in a row, mate? That's the big question. That's the £64,000 question I've got to ask you right now.
If it's worth that much, then yeah, I'll try it.
Robbie, yeah, go on, mate.
But yeah, we'll see. Probably, but who knows? I've never driven around Imola in the McLaren, so who knows?
Well, we'll wait and see what you bring to the table. But Robbie, well done, congratulations, another race victory and provisional champion for season 3 here on the eTeam BRIT GT Challenge. We'll see you at Imola, mate. Well done.
Thank you, Alex. See ya.
Well, David, there we go. A new name joins the honour roll as Robbie Stapleford now does the business. Season 3 champion. I've just done some calculations as well that the team's championship is going to be close, because you've got Simsport Solutions 146, Simsport Racing 136, Zansho Simsport 2 117, and Team Fordzilla Blue 110 going into the final round at Imola. You were in some respects right, I think, on one of the previous preview shows, saying that I think if Robbie keeps up this form, he's going to secure it with a round to go. And we were denied a great battle, obviously with Charlie Crossland not being able to participate tonight. But nevertheless, we've just seen, I think, a little smidgen of what's to come from Robbie Stapleford, because this kid is mustard.
Oh, he is the real deal for sure, and he comes in with a lot of pedigree, and he goes out of the season with some huge stats out of the end of the championship. So cannot wait to see how he ends up with this season. I mean, surely he's going to have to try and go for the clean sweep from the races that he has entered. And the thing is that obviously he missed the first round, Alex, but if he takes... this is the bit that blew my mind. If he takes that final win at Imola, that first week surely would count as a drop score.
It already does.
Yeah, I mean, he could essentially have won every single race of this season.
Well, considering the fact that he is 44 points ahead of Charlie Crossland going into the final round of the championship, he does another one. That's going to be 69 points ahead, and that will put him on 154 points come Imola if he does exactly what he's done tonight. But realistically, on that bombshell, I mean, David, your final thoughts leaving Spa, and we've got one more round to go. Autodromo Enzo Guidino Ferrari, Imola, February 7th, where I think the pressure's going to be off a lot of drivers, but we're going to see some great action around that fantastic circuit, aren't we?
We really do. And just before we go to Imola, we have to just very quickly squeeze in another shout out for Bobby Shundley and that move, Alex, at the hairpin. We didn't give it enough credit at the time. That is one of the moves of the season, if not the race, if not the entire year, from what I've seen from Bobby. Getting past 2 back markers while holding on to his position, that was just outrageous.
It was indeed, and on that particular bombshell, thank you very much for tuning in for the penultimate round of the eTeam BRIT GT Challenge for Season 3 with myself, Alex Goldschmidt, and David Christie. A big thank you to Simsport Solutions for their fantastic coverage, as always. We'll see you at Autodromo Enzo e Dino Ferrari at Imola on February the 7th, where we decide what happens with the team's championship as Robbie Stapleford takes the Season 3 crown here at Spa. Thank you very much for watching. See you soon, good night, and take care.